our first things first with Chris Mannix. We're going viral. USA Olympic basketball. Carmelo Anthony, star Carmelo Anthony, the two of them. USA Olympic basketball and Carmelo Anthony have been synonymous over the years. Melo winning gold medals in Beijing, in London, in Rio. But he's not among the 35 players in the pool for the 2020 games. This caused a little bit of controversy in our morning meeting today. Basketball Forever posted on Instagram that this will be the first time Melo will miss the Olympics since getting to the NBA, to which Melo commented, LOL. Nick,
this is outrageous. Most medals in the history of Team USA, most points in a game, most rebounds. A guy who, once he became a star, always signed up for this, went and did this in his off time, is the most decorated American Olympian basketball player ever. If he wants to play,
wait, say that one more time again. The most decorated.
The most decorated American Olympic basketball player ever. He's won more golds than anyone. No. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Listen,
no problem.
If he wants, you're going to we're talking about him taking what? Chris Middleton's roster spot? Like, he doesn't need to play major minutes. If he wants to play,
so we should have him on the team like the dream team, like Larry Bird was on that team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure. And even like you want to go even more recent. I mean, Kobe, when he was on the team, was on the back end of his career. Carmelo's leadership in 2016, I was there in Rio. Carmelo's leadership was invaluable to that team. You don't necessarily need the guy to be one of the 15 best players in the world or in the country to play for USA basketball. Plus, we've all said this before, Carmelo is more equipped to be an Olympic basketball player, maybe than an NBA basketball player because of that floor position. Yeah. I agree. When you win that many, you can play for
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Also, a lot of those Olympics, the reason why he was damn fresh was he wasn't in the playoffs.
Okay, that's fine. But
Carmelo happened to be born at the right time, bro.
Agree on all those.
Born at the right
but
date.
He was born at the same time as LeBron. LeBron didn't sign up for all these. Kevin Durant hasn't signed up for all these. Dwight Howard didn't sign up for all these.
Yeah, because they had extended postseason, Nick.
Man, Carmelo is the one guy that has signed up every time. And I just think you should honor him because...
Honor him?
Yes, he wants to play.
Y'all getting
Let him
stop.
I knew that when you said that, that's what...
Yes.
They've already given him 3 medals.
He helped him. Man,
he did.
Mannix, one of them they don't win
This is the first time you're going to Mannix. Mannix.
Mannix was there. All right.
For the first month, I didn't even know your name. I was calling you McMahon. Nick was like, that's my guy, man. His name is Mannix. Okay, I was like, okay, bro.
I'm with him on this.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Bring him back.
Let's move on to LeBron James. Quick history lesson here. He was in Cleveland, then he went to Miami, then he went back to Cleveland. He left the Heat, not such great terms with Pat Riley, and while Riley was real mad at the time, he is now saying in a new book, LeBron made the right call going back to the Cavs. Chris Mannix, what's your reaction to Riley's recent
comment? There's always a method to Pat Riley's madness. Like, he's not...
He's working an angle, boys.
He's just not... He doesn't say stuff unless there's a reason behind it. He's not going to praise LeBron James unless maybe he needs something
out
from
of LeBron James.
And look, I think it's a pipe dream to imagine LeBron James going back to Miami. I mean,
yes.
He went to Miami the first time after a lot of consideration when in their prime Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade were there. Now, because Miami is kind of landlocked with some bad salaries. Some of them are tradable, but some salaries, like the Tyler Johnson salary, really, really bad. I think, and Dwayne Wade, obviously, the back end of his career. LeBron, wherever he goes, is going to go somewhere where he can get 1 or 2 other big-time stars with him. And look, they're always big game hunting in Miami. They chased Gordon Hayward, had a shot at Gordon Hayward. They try to convince some guys to, not sign long-term deals at place so they can recruit them the next year. So I get what he's trying to do, but I just don't think it's possible. I think it's pie in the sky for Miami.
The only thing, if you're a Miami Heat fan listening to this, by the way, I totally agree. That's what Riley's doing. Riley is trying to at least open the window, open the door slightly ajar to LeBron having his decision this offseason be to go to Miami. The only reason that I would think it's even somewhat plausible is I do remember the first time LeBron went to Miami. At this point in that year, they were not on the radar of it. Like, there were a few people saying, I think Miami, and those people were shouted down mostly. It was about Chicago. It was about the Knicks. It was about potentially a pipe dream of the Lakers. And then Miami started gaining momentum later in the process once people were like, well, did these guys talk about this together at the Olympics, by the way, years before? I don't think it's realistic. But what I do think, when you say there's a method to Pat Riley's, whatever he's doing, even if he doesn't land LeBron, this makes sense. Just like even if D-Wade didn't help them this year, and he has, by the way, bringing him back into the fold makes sense because one of the things the Heat have been known for since Pat Riley's been there has been the Heat lifer, the Heat culture that Alonzo Mourning has a job here. We treat our stars right. And by the way, Alonzo and them had a bad breakup, and then they brought him back into the fold. And you need to mend this fence with LeBron. Now, I don't know if LeBron's interested in it being mended, but you need to at least offer that olive branch, even if you don't get LeBron, because it helps you get the next time a superstar comes around.
Tell me, would it be more of a stretch? LeBron, when he was in Miami, deciding to partner back with Dan Gilbert. Now, because that would people like, that's not going to happen. Compared to LeBron partnering back up with Pat Riley. Which one of those would you think was a more far-fetched?
I would have thought the Dan Gilbert thing was far more far-fetched. The distinction I would draw is Miami doesn't have a year 4 Kyrie Irving and the #1 pick of the draft that they can then flip.
But the relationship with Riley, if people were concentrating on that compared to Dan Gilbert.
The relationship with Riley was never really fractured. It was almost like, you know, LeBron left him, and maybe there was kind of a like, do I really want to approach him? Do I want to try to mend this fence? Does it need to be mended? Remember when LeBron left, Riley kind of held a press conference and was like, whatever. You know, he's making he's got to do what he's got to do, but we're going to still try to win down here. It wasn't what I mean. Dan Gilbert went out and just napalmed him and just absolutely Comic Sans MS'd him in that letter. Just a different dynamic altogether.
Besides this Brook excerpt that's coming out, what would Miami have to do to realistically or legitimately have a shot at getting LeBron
You'd have to
James?
bring somebody else to the table with them. You'd have to, you know, be able to recruit one other big-name guy, whether it is, maybe you say to LeBron, we can flip Hassan Whiteside for DeMarcus Cousins. We can bring in a player like that. We can maneuver. You have to have a concrete plan in place. And maybe they can have one. Maybe they can do that. But I still think it's far more likely that a Philadelphia, a Houston, an L.A. comes to the table with a better type of deal. Plus,
who already have those
pieces in place. But I don't know that LeBron wants that back in mind. He's always said great experience.
Called it college.
Yeah,
he said it was college for me. I matured. I learned about
it. Once you go into the pros, you don't want to go back to college.
Yeah, Cleveland, there was the lure. There was the siren song of going back and playing in Akron and being a hero amongst these guys. I don't think there's that type of lure, especially with Dwayne Wade in the back end of his career.
Listen, there are 3 places that are practical, logical. They've been on the radar, at least 2 of them all year, and the third one as of late, that make total sense for LeBron for, by the way, somewhat very different reasons. There's Los Angeles. The biggest thing they have going for that, because we don't know who he could bring with him to Los Angeles. We think Paul George. We think maybe they could also work some trade for Kawhi and have a super team there. But Los Angeles, it is about setting up his post-basketball life. Right? That's what the biggest lure Los Angeles has is that.
It's also still championships. LeBron is not going anywhere he cannot win championships.
Oh, the 3 places I'm going to say I think all have the championship component. I'm saying the championship component baked in, and then what's the other reason? LA, it would be more off-the-court stuff to me. To me, Houston would be about finally being able to play with Chris Paul and being able to win immediately. Philadelphia would be, again, the championships, but also extending your career as long as is possible. Philadelphia is the best option to have as you've talked about, an 18-year prime if you're LeBron James. Like, Miami doesn't check any of those boxes. Like, that's what they have working against them. There's no, like, oh, yeah, but they can do this, and they have the smallest championship possibilities of any of those 3 teams by far.
There's 2 things you can be sure of about LeBron's next decision here. One is when he makes it, we're going to learn after the fact that there probably was kind of a 2010 component to it, right? That there was something going on behind the scenes over the course of this year that brought everything together to put him in the spot he decides to go to. The other part about that works against Miami is that he doesn't really have any control down there and never did. He goes to Miami and he complains about Eric Spoelstra and is told to shut off. He wants to bring his guys into the fold. He's told to go away. You get passes for pregame and that's pretty much it. You are a basketball player in Miami.
Courtside
and whether it's LA, in LA with Jeannie Buss down there, you can dictate some stuff. Cleveland, we know he has the run of the place. You don't have that down in Miami, and I'm not sure that he wants a situation like that.
That's a good point we don't always think about. Chris Mannix, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Appreciate you.
Good time. Coming up, Hall of Famer Jerome Bettis joins the show.
Oh, no problem. Let's take the kids to school on the bus, man. Let's do this. We got a Hall of Famer in the house. Let's do this. What up, baby? Good seeing you.
How are you, sir?
Good, man. These mere mortals got to deal with it.